Aloha, everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Connect the Dots. I am Jeremiah Garcia.
And I'm Ezra White from Guide Dogs of Hawaii. This is a safe place for blind and visually impaired individuals to come together, share experiences, and learn from each other. Today we will look back on our recent 2-week orientation and mobility training event called If I Don't Go, I'll Never Know. As the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions began to significantly relax, the 2-week training couldn't have come at a better time, now that folks are beginning to come out in the community. Participants came together to refresh or gain new O&M skills and techniques, share experiences, make discoveries, and form new friendships. Let's dive in and take a look at just how this life-changing and empowering event made a difference.
I hope to gain a lot of just experience in getting around places, because I only mainly walk on my high school campus and in the mall. I don't really walk to and from work since I don't work, or I don't walk down the street to go get food. So I rely a lot on my parents for driving, and so being able to go to college and be an independent is my goal.
That was Amanda, who is a senior in high school. As many individuals do, Amanda has plans to attend college and become an independent adult. She has big dreams that she is working to make real, and one goal is to become independent in mobility. Our aim is to create opportunities for clients to achieve independent travel, which would encourage them to navigate through their community with grace and confidence. It took a year to plan and 2 weeks to soak it up. It was great fun from start to end. The event's purpose was to achieve 4 major outcomes: refresh old and gain new skills and techniques, explore canes, tips, and technology to enhance mobility, gather with others of all ages to support and share experiences, and make new friends and discoveries. To achieve all this, Asa Torres, our project manager, modeled our training sessions similar to guide dog training. Combining individual and group training while gathering proved to be a great format for the event.
The basis of this mass O&M training event was to provide our blind and visually impaired clients with the opportunity to further their independence by means of traveling safely and effectively. Additionally, the teachers of the visually impaired youth here in Hawaii were able to get updated training techniques and were able to exchange information with each other that will in turn help them to support these kids with their orientation and mobility training in school.
Initially, a slow start, we made time to speak to as many clients as possible in a one-to-one conversation, sharing our purpose and opportunities for each person. Amy Downard, our contracted O&M instructor since 2017, was one of our team members who worked to make our clients feel comfortable and safe.
I think in the beginning, it depends on their background, what O&M experiences they had in the past. And perhaps they thought, oh, do I want to go back to that if they didn't have a good experience? Or, oh, that sounds interesting. Maybe it's something new. So I think there might have been a little hesitation to participate, or I already know how to travel, so I don't need any more training for O&M. So I think it was just an understanding of we wanted to have a kickoff, especially because of COVID. We've been stuck at home. We want to get back out into the world, so let's refresh our skills. So I think after they were able to hear more about what the actual day-to-day workshop was intended to provide, then they were more than willing to come out and say, okay, that sounds great, or I'm not sure, but I'll try it.
Clinic exercises sessions involve the gathering of participants, sharing and discussing experiences navigating in our own world. Our instructors, Chris and Angela of Sensory Travel, guided participants through discussions, offering a wide range of solutions. They introduced techniques and technology to further enhance their mobility.
The presenters that GDH selected to provide the training for this O&M event were Chris and Angela Tabb of Sensory Travel LLC, They are both O&M specialists from Texas, and they both have years of experience working with all different ages from across the United States. They approached this training with open minds so that they could really understand each individual client, because knowing the client's lifestyle, goals, and where they are currently in regards to their O&M training is really helpful in deciding what information is most critical to share with them. And I think that played a huge role in the success of the program.
Clients learn that O&M is not about the cane. It is about learning how to travel safely, effectively, and independently. It doesn't matter if you are a guide dog handler, a person who prefers to use sighted guide, or a cane traveler. O&M independence is knowing where you are going, and how you will get there. Once participants gained this understanding, they saw the benefits in refreshing and learning more skills.
Because I'm a guide dog user, at first I was pretty hesitant about joining because um, using the cane and using the dog is two different things, and I didn't think I would really need the mobility training because of my dog. But after thought of it, it wouldn't have hurt for me to redo some mobility just to get a refresher. And I was glad that I did, because there were so many things which I've kind of forgotten, and it was a good refresher. And I've learned a few new things, the new way of using my cane, the new way of um, traveling more safely, plus learning about the new canes that are available now. And it was really worthwhile. I'm glad I joined in with the mobility training.
Participants comfortably shared their challenges and solutions with the group. Many of them found that they share the same challenges. Challenges included navigating across the streets with islands, street crossings, fear taking escalators, and frustration navigating in noisy environments. No matter what the challenge was, everyone in the group learned ways to work through them. The participant who expressed her fear of escalators trusted the instructors to guide her through her fear, and by the third exercise, she took the escalator all on her own, overcoming her fear. What an amazing achievement that was for her.
I found it really comforting because since I'm a senior in high school, I don't really get to see other people who are visually impaired or blind. And so just being in a room with like even just 4 people made me feel a lot more connected to those people, even though I don't even know them, but hearing their stories, it's like really eye-opening that like I have this shared life experience that not a lot of other people have.
I love the group O&M idea, the project-based idea, I guess you would call it, because the best thing is that we gather. When we get together, magic happens. And that's when we can have a learning experience as we gather. That's a double bonus.
A way forward for this training program is the long cane. Participants discovered that having cane skills and using an appropriate and comfortable cane will lead them towards mobility independence. For this event, we focused on familiarizing clients with the wide range of canes and tips available and in what situations they may be most useful in interpreting information in their environment. Participants had a rare opportunity to try out different canes. They discovered different handles, such as the rubberized ones. Some were excited to learn and try out the no-jab cane, while others studied which weight worked best for them. In addition to the common tips, clients experimented with the Dakota disc tip that can be used on uneven terrain like our sandy beaches, snow, and schoolyard. But for excellent audio feedback, the ceramic tip became an instant favorite. Clients who walk along unpaved areas will be happy to know that there is a tip called the all terrain tip designed to help navigate through grass and unpaved areas. Then, for those of you who are highly mobile, the rover free wheeling tip might just be something to consider. Lastly, but certainly not the least, invented and manufactured in Australia is the OmniSense tip that has a kickstand which will allow the user to stand up the cane and walk away from it. Gone are the days of laying our long, rigid canes on the floor with this kind of tip. There were so many canes and tips to explore that participants were commenting that they felt like they were in a candy store.
Well, first of all, I wish it could go on forever because I learned a lot. I learned how to walk straighter. I learned different cane techniques, um, how the different cane tips work, which I'd never been given information about before, how the different cane materials work. Some are graphite, some are carbon, and the weight of them, the pros and cons of each. That's a lot of information, and it's good information for people to have that you would think would be basic, but it's not really taught. A cane is not just a cane.
We did learn a lot already, and I can feel that Chris and Angela really understand our needs and weakness that we need to learn, and they are really understanding. They're helpful. They explain really clearly and we use good examples, yeah, so that we can really learn, pick up the ideas really easily. And I particularly like the way that they show us all the different kind of canes and tips and grips, that kind of things, so that we actually can try it out. Of course, before we never know there's different kind of cane, and we don't know how we feel when we actually use it. But today we can actually have hand-on experience of them, how they put together, how they work together, and how are they lightweight, or how the feel of using it. Then we can have a better understanding what cane is good for us for different occasions, different situations, and really helpful that we can plan ourselves to get canes that we can use in the future, and really that's really helpful for us.
After lunch, participants went out for street exercises individually and in small groups. The cool thing about this training session is that participants were being trained individually in a group setting. Aside from this type of training being fun and supportive, they each discovered that, in spite of being in a group, each received individualized attention, correction, modification, suggestions, and progression. They also discovered that the exercise felt realistic as it changed and evolved as the group progressed. All this motivated participants to look forward to returning the next day for another round of new discoveries.
Going out for the walk with Chris, we were at the corner of King and Cook Street. I didn't know there was no stoplight. All this time, I thought there was a stoplight there. Always cross with the parallel traffic. I found out today from Chris that no, this is a stop sign, and then he taught me a technique that I never, it was my first time experience. He said, best time to cross to protect yourself is when you hear no traffic. For me, I was always taught to follow the parallel traffic. So he was telling us, wait till there's no traffic, because no traffic's safer. Chances, if you cross the way I was doing with the parallel traffic, you might have some guy not paying attention, making a right turn, and you can get injured.
Once the O&M workshop started, they enjoyed it and they wanted to come back. And they were like, well, when's the next time? Are we going to have another? And when there was an opportunity to come a few bonus times on the second week, instead of saying, I've had enough, they were like, yeah, so what time is it? Can I come? Even during the day, the long days, there was one day each week where we started at Ala Moana Shopping Center and then took an Uber to Guide Dogs of Hawaii. So that was the longest day, 9:30 to 3. And at first, some people were like, oh, I'll just do the morning, or oh, I'll just do the afternoon. But some people decided to do the whole thing because they were having such a good time.
On field days, participants did exercises at Ala Moana and Pearl Ridge shopping centers. There, they were able to establish routes to various shops and meeting locations, integrating permanent markers along their path. They learned new ways to take the escalator and how to focus and interpret sensory information in the environment, such as the selective hearing technique, the square off technique, and the analog clock were just a few that clients either brought out of their toolbox, dusted off and refreshed, or were added to the many other skills and techniques in their toolbox.
There's a lot to take in. There's echolocation, there's sound feedback, noise cancellation. There's all kinds of stuff. It's very intricate. And it was the first time that I was in the mall since I've been here, so that was a big experience too.
I would really love to learn more about how to orientate ourselves in the new environments, like particularly in the shopping mall, the kind of places we are not used to, where to find those elevators, escalators, and how to get around, how to navigate in new places.
During these outings, they were introduced to Uber share rides and AirTags. Many rely solely on family members or the handy van, which have to be scheduled in advance. Then, there is the bus, which, for some people, just doesn't come as often as one might like. Wouldn't it be nice to just call for a ride and go where we want, when we want? Participants learn how to use Uber share rides. Understanding how to use the app, how to advocate and communicate with the drivers, and how to maintain orientation upon offboarding. The AirTag was pretty interesting. Using the GPS on a smartphone, one can locate an item that an AirTag was placed on by searching for it and having the GPS guide us to the area where the item is. This is great to use on items we all tend to misplace, like keys, for example.
Another thing that our instructors covered was different types of technology. A lot of them ranging from specific devices such as a Suno band, which was a device you wear on your wrist, and it basically vibrates every single time something is hanging overhead that your cane will not find. Another piece of technology was some apps like Good Maps. Basically, it's made specifically for blind individuals, and it provides you information on transit locations or step-by-step turns to your destination. Like just a little bit more information that Google Maps will not provide.
For our youths, they not only had indoor clinic time, their field day included an experience using Uber Share Ride. They learned new ways to navigate in stores. A share ride to Long's drugstore with $10 in their pocket was enough to get them excited. Navigating the store was fun because they used different approaches to meet their challenges, like using the windshield wiper technique to find the refrigerator door handle and using their barcode scanner to identify the products they were looking at.
I felt like I was an adult already because I always been wanting to shop on my own and not trying to rely on my mom, my brother, my sister to help me. It's just really showing me how to be very, very independent.
And then we got to do something that none of them had ever done at school, take an Uber ride. And that's something that's brand new, as not really brand new, but for them it is, as a way to access transportation needs, because that's part of our everyday lives now. You can do shared riding or a taxi, not just handy van, city bus, or get a ride from a family member or walk.
There was never a dull moment for anyone. If you were out on the field practicing new techniques and skills, you were doing roundtable discussions, exploring various tactile map formats, trying out the canes you were interested in, or learning how to use new apps you just discovered during the event.
The difference skills and technique I learned during the O&M training were learning how to use the escalator properly and feel the difference of the escalator, whether it's going up or it's going down, or if the railing is going away from you. And then the second one I learned is how to use the elevator, and then feel the different buttons, whether they're going up or going down, and feel where the barrels are, either on the right side or the left side.
My most favorite technology that they showed us was the Sunu band. I really like the Sunu band because it really helps me find obstacles that I can't see. I really love that sensor it has because it really helps me like figure out my way and not to hit any obstacles.
Towards the end of the event, 2 full days were reserved for Hawaii's teachers for the visually impaired. They too had morning clinic workshops and after lunch field exercises. They went for 5-block walks, learning new techniques that they will be able to use to help their students become safe, efficient, and independent travelers. From what we hear, they got a lot out of these 2 days. So students, look out. Your TVI may just have some new moves for you.
I think that the presenters were amazing, Chris and Angela Tab, just because they didn't have an agenda saying we're going to stick to this agenda, I'm going to talk and you're going to listen. It was very interactive, open discussions. They would say we could, there's a million things we could talk about. What do you want to talk about? So he really and she really framed our needs into what they wanted to present to us.
One of our many goals is to support our youth clients and their TVIs, because we believe that it is through the bond between the teacher and student that inspires confidence in all the student does to prepare for adulthood. Many of our youth clients had great things to say about their TVIs or had some wonderful stories and experiences they wanted to share. We could hear how much they valued their relationship with their TVI. It is this listening that GDH included TVIs in the event. An opportunity dedicated to only the TVI to make new discoveries, learn new tricks of the trade, and share with others. By helping our local TVIs refresh and expand their knowledge and experiences, our students will gain a great confidence in their mobility training.
My O&M training with my O&M instructor, Miss Jeannie Camacho, she's very, very polite and she gives in more detail on where we're at, and she always brings in the tactile map. It really helps me. And the instructors from that day that we had the mass training, just like my O&M instructor, Miss Jeannie, they also give in more detail on where our surroundings are at.
The reason I'm in this field of O&M and as a teacher for the blind, I have a love for humanity. And so when I'm learning a skill, to have someone learn a skill to travel safely, I feel like I'm contributing to our world and that we're all in this together no matter what we're doing.
GDH also believes that the adults will benefit from continued O&M training. Let's take a look at driving. A person learns the skills to drive and the rules of the road. Many drivers will agree that they sometimes relax some of the rules of driving and techniques. It helps to have testings every 5 years before renewing their license to ensure or even refresh lessons and skills learned to be a safe and efficient driver. Even an expert driver knows the benefit of refresher trainings. Learning O&M can be viewed in the same way. It helps to refresh skills and learn new ones along the way. There is always going to be a new technique to learn in O&M because our environment constantly changes and advances. We had individuals who are excellent cane travelers but joined the program to ensure their skills were still sharp and to learn new techniques. Observing the participants' serious interest in developing skills for safe and efficient travel led us to think about how to further support our clients' efforts to achieve and maintain mobility independence.
As a result of the positive feedback we received after completing this mass training event, we do plan to offer this training annually. And in between mass trainings, we do also plan to support these new skills by offering O&M focused activities throughout the year, as well as quarterly field exercises within the community itself.
We want to take this time to thank Asa Torres and Amy Downard for organizing this event, the staff and volunteers for their hard work to make the event run smoothly and fun, and this year's certified O&M specialists Chris and Angela Tabb. Most importantly, we want to thank all the participants and professionals who attended the workshops. We are all happy to know that everyone took something away from this event. We invite you to join in on our monthly O&M Sensory Skill Building activities, and coming soon will be another community group mobility challenge. Be sure to sign up quickly, and for those of you who didn't get a chance to join in the last event, we will be happy to have you on board with us next time. You will certainly learn something, share something, and make new discoveries.
As we draw to a close with this episode, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you learned useful information. Please feel free to send your feedback to connectthedots@guidedogsofhawaii.org. And if you don't mind, if you could check us out on our social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook, please do so by simply searching for Guide Dogs of Hawaii. Before we close, we'd like to give a special thanks to the following individuals who had contributed to this podcast: Asa Torres, Amy Downard, Joy Nakara Miranaka, Amanda Cuna, Duncan Lee, Deborah Raymond, Guywood De La Cruz, Skayboy Sanes, and Kreda Mizutani. We'll now leave you with an Olelo no Eau, a Hawaiian proverb. We encourage you to reflect on the saying and see how it can be applied to your life. Today's Olelo no Eau is A'oheloa I ka noho wale. Nothing is gained by idleness.
Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, take care.
Ahui ho a malamapono. Episode hosted by Ezra White and Jeremiah Garcia. Written by Ezra White and Jeremiah Garcia with help from Leanne Lujan. Music by Ezra White. Edited and published by Primo Mateo. This podcast is supported by Guide Dogs of Hawaii, a nonprofit organization serving the blind and visually impaired of Hawaii.